Hello, everybody. This is a Lamley showcase outside in the backyard. Chilly again, so I'm keeping one hand warm, but doing the best I can. Nissan 5-pack coming soon. I think some of our overseas friends have seen this in the stores. It should be hitting our stores in the US very, very soon. This came from Mattel. I've had a lot of requests to showcase this one, so that is what I'm going to do. I brought some friends along to do a little, little background, a little look back on some of these models. We'll talk about them in a little bit, but let's get right to it. I'm going to get the angle here. Shooting 5-packs in horizontal on YouTube is a tough go because most of the stuff that we do, they're cars. They go this direction, right? So, but that's why I've got this kind of weird angle. But let's talk about this pack. I'll try and get some close-ups, and then we'll just get a close-up of the model. You want to start with the artwork. It is fantastic. 8380, I can't remember. I'll put a link down to his Instagram. He does some work. He did some car culture. He's done some special Walmart sets and some other designs for Mattel and for their packaging. That is his art here. It's fantastic. You can see a little piece there on the side. Nissan is the set. I think this is the first Nissan set we've seen 5-pack, right? We've seen a million Nissan items. I just did the diorama set, right? So Nissan is very popular. Nissan is very good to work with. That's one of the reasons. They obviously have some very popular cars these days, so that's why we see a lot of this. Anything else that you need to look for? There's that if you want it. The models. They're listed right here. I'm trying to find the right angle. Datsun 620, Nissan Fairlady Z, Nissan Silvia S13, Nissan Skyline GTR, the BNR 32, and the Nissan Skyline HD 2000 GTX. Kind of a cross section of models, old and new. Let's go ahead and open this one up. I think Leeway did the art on did the graphics on these cars. Leeway is a fantastic designer. Does a lot of basic. There we go. Does a lot of basic cars, and here we are. I can move the angle down just a little bit. Maybe I can even move the camera up a little bit so we can now start really focusing on these models. I'm going to walk through a couple of them real quick, and then that I did not bring the background models for, and then we'll talk about all of these others. And we'll start with this one. This is the Datsun 620. I hope everyone watching, but if you don't know, Datsun is Nissan. Datsun was Nissan in the United States. Datsun became Nissan quite a few years ago, but Datsun is definitely Nissan. Now, could you have used something else here, an actual Nissan truck? I guess you could have converted the hard body over to basic, but you don't have to do that. You could also have done the Nissan Titan. I thought about that one. That's a cool model that we haven't seen in a while. But I also think that, there's also some logistics. It's where's the tooling, and sometimes they do 5-packs differently where they do basic, and so they have to go with the toolings that they have. And this one, obviously, they did. This is a nice one. Junamai designed this one. It has the Datsun embossed in the back. The design is fine. It's pretty plain in a sense, but still, it's cool. I thought about bringing out the 620s, but I can do that for a video another time. There's so many of them, and I thought we'd focus more on the Skylines today. So that is the 620. Put that right here. Then we're going to go to the bottom here. This is the, what is this one again? Nissan Fairlady Z. So this is a casting, like this was also designed, this is kind of like done as like a custom, like it's got the Skyline taillights on it. As a custom Z, it's got the shark nose. Really like the deco on this one. Orange, it's got the 5-spoke wheels, Nissan on the top with the number 80. I really like the deco. Never been particularly fond of this casting. You guys like to hear me sometimes say, hey, we'd like to see you like say the things you don't like. Well, there you go. Never been a real fan of this casting. I do have the versions, like it was converted into premium, and I like that. I think it's a little bit more balanced in premium, so I have those in car culture. And I have a couple in my collection, but this is not a casting that I collect as a completist. I have a few, but I don't know. It seems the proportions are off a little bit on that one. I understand all of the cues, the design cues on that as a custom Z, but it's never been one that I've been particularly fond of. But there it is. All right, let's talk about the Silvia. I can move this in so you can see me take it out. There it is. Now this is cool. This is nice to see this one. Nissan Silvia S13. I'll walk through this model real quickly. Go back like this. because we haven't seen too many of them. It was released a few years ago in this KW livery. This is actually based on a real car. It was at SEMA. Chris Marion owns this car. He works for KW. And really, really cool design. Then they recolored it in this blue color, which is, I guess you'd call it a fantasy. But because it's a different color. My favorite was the one released a couple years ago in plain red with these taillights. That one remains my favorite. It's really, really cool. And because of this one, you see how nice the casting is. I mean, we now saw it, obviously, the older one too. I hope to see many, many more versions, and I'm very excited this has been converted to premium. Now, it's the same deco. The KW design has been moved to premium for Team Transport, right? It's coming out right now. But, and it's nice to see, but I'm hoping because we now have it converted to premium, we're going to see some really cool versions of this one moving forward, and I'm sure we will. This is the new version, basic, you know, with the plastic base and everything, but it looks really cool. I love it in pearl white. Any Japanese car in white is always going to be a winner for me. And then it has this red and blue deco. I think that's the excuse me, I think that's the Hot Wheels deco in Japanese. I'd have to go back and compare, which looks nice. And then we have some other, you got Dima. I think Dima designed this model. He's got his logo on there. I think Hot Wheels Graphics. AH, I don't know who that is, but really, really nice. Cool to see the taillights done on this one as well. So that one is fantastic. Definitely goes into the collection. Anything S13 that comes out goes into the collection for sure. Really, really dig that casting. Now, we have two left. Two Skylines, bookending. Now, it's like, do we always showcase like Skylines? Yeah, we always showcase Skylines because A, there's always Skylines being released. B, you guys love them. I love them. Collectors love Skylines. We see the frenzy for the pink Skyline. No comment on the botched sale there, but they're just popular. They just are wildly popular, and if ever I see someone say, I'm sick of the Skyline, yeah, some people say that, but it doesn't mean we always pick them up, so I was excited to see two. So we're going to bookend. You got a fairly new, recent casting that has had one of the best runs already. We'll talk about the R32 in a minute, but let's talk about this one, the Hakosuka. We just did a feature on this one, right? When I did the Nissan set, the diorama set is out with the three white Skylines, the C210, obviously this one, the Hakosuka, and the Liberty Walk Ken Mary. But here we have another one. This is the second time it's been in a 5-pack, and I had to bring out, this one has been both in basic and premium. I'll walk through a couple of highlights. Well, I'll walk you through, this is the first one, 2011. Junamai designed this one. Had a roll cage, done in a racing livery, just classic racing livery that I think you know, if you go back into the history of Japanese race cars, this is an iconic livery, and we've seen it released a couple different times. Then we saw it moved into basic maybe a year or two later, still had the roll cage. I actually have it with roll cage and without. So if you want to be a completist, this is one of the things you want to do, is look for with the roll cage on the black version and without. And then the same thing happened with the Zamak that was released the same year. So it was kind of a recolor. Has the roll cage in green. That's one to look for. And without the roll cage. I actually like putting these two together because look, this is two very different versions. You have a kind of, I don't know if it doesn't really come across here, but one's very glossy and the other one looks kind of like more non-gloss. I wouldn't say matte, but anyway. But I just thought that was kind of cool to have the two. But with roll cage, without roll cage. I guess you can consider this one premium because it's got the metal base. This is from the Heritage series, but it does have the classic plastic wheels. They did one where it's like they did red lines one mix and they would alternate with real riders the next mix. This one and the Kid Mary both went into that red line mix. Then we had, this was the highway, or no, it was the roads. I can't remember what the series was called, but this is a Walmart special series. This is the Kaido Racer and a very cool kind of classic. You can see hints of that racing deco on that one and the Kaido Racer. Roy de Guzman's car. This was at SEMA. June loved it. Hot Wheels loved it. They wanted to replicate it, so they did. This really cool design that he put on his car in SEMA several years ago. That was a really special release. Fast and Furious in black. I think this car actually showed up for like 6 seconds in the 5th movie, I believe, in Brazil. but they did it, and this is one of the only clean versions. There's not too many of them. We talked about that in the white car series. Which was this one? This might have been the 5-pack version, the first 5-pack version that we saw a few years ago. I can't remember what the pack was, but yeah, I think this is the first 5-pack version that we saw in gold. Typically, you're going to see the taillights done. This one didn't get them done. I think Nissan would prefer that they get done, so you see them a lot of times show up. Not all the time. There's that racing livery again, kind of hinting at it in this camouflage version that was released a few years ago. I'd put all these on the turntable, but I just think, some of them I will, but not all of them. Okay, and then we've seen this one last year, right? In this basic version, JDM Legends was highlighted in this particular version, and it was super, super clean, had a kind of a BRE style racing, and the one you really wanted was this one, Super Treasure Hunt with the TH. It's so cool with the Watanabe rims on it. It kind of hints at the way they do premium with this casting, because it has to have the Watts on it. A couple versions haven't, but well, one version. But this one, I mean, just put Watts on this car every time. And then just recently, the FAO Schwartz release in gold. I don't know if I ever showcased this one, so there it is. Really clean, really cool. Then, of course, it's been in premium. And we're going to add that 5-pack version. I'll just walk through it really, really quickly. That was the Boulevard version from 2012, 2013, I believe. That came with the Datsun wagon, same mix. That was, and there's one of your only plain versions, right? So you got the black, Fast and Furious, and basic. That's the only basic one that's been plain. And then that one with the black hood. We saw that racing livery return in the very first mix of Japan Historics, in the very first mix of Car Culture. Didn't get the taillights or the headlights. That was when they're kind of medium premium, and then they upgraded. And then we saw the JDM Legends theme come back with the JDM Legends Team Transport version, which is the most full version of that racing livery that we've seen. And it looks so cool in that JDM Legends racing livery. That's an all-timer for me. Watanabe rims on all three of those. The only one that didn't get it was the 10 spokes on this Forza version. That's okay. I don't, the wheels don't particularly work. They look almost like a little wagon wheelie on this one. But the color combination is great, and this is actually a companion piece to the S15 that was released in Forza a few years before that. So that was, last year or 2 years ago? And then just real quick, we've already seen this one. But the other clean version is this beautiful version in white. I have to say, this may be my favorite now, just because I love these cars in white with the black Watt rims on it. And just so, so cool with the taillights and everything else. And now we add to this massive collection this purple version. Lace wheels, which is an interesting take on this one, especially with the white-lipped version of it. No taillights on that one. So they got away with the one stripe. Now, with 5-packs, the emphasis, and we'll obviously my whole theory on that will be killed with the next Skyline. But the emphasis is on side graphics, right? Because you got all these 5 cars stacked on top of each other. They're still aimed at kids. Obviously, there's a collector hint on this one with the Nissan set. But they got to look appealing to those walking by to pull off the shelves and pay, $5 or $6 for this set. So you're going to see more side graphics than headlights, taillights on these sets. That's why it's always cool to see something like the Silvia get the taillights. And then, of course, you get a mix in, boom. No side graphics on this one, taillights on this one, and some top graphics. But this one can sit, the R32, with a plain graphics amongst the other 4 with side graphics. I think that's how they look at it, try and balance it out. All right, let's talk about the R32. I mentioned that it has had one of the most stellar runs of a new casting. Obviously, there was the older racing version of the R32, I think designed by Phil Reelman from like 2005 or 2004. But then they did a more stock version. The first release of it, we'll talk about, well, the first release was in premium. So let's go to premium first. And this was the Fast and Furious in jet black. We've now seen a basic version of that in that 10-pack that I don't have yet, so I'm not going to show that one yet. But this premium version with the 6-spoke rims on it is so cool, so clean. And so you look at it, when you have a casting, you're like, I want clean versions, I want racing versions. And the R32 is such a classic car that, let's just talk about it. Plain black, which looks fantastic. Then HKS, which is an iconic livery on an iconic car. That's fantastic. And Hot Wheels did the full wrap on that with the HKS. And by the way, we have the R33 coming. Then we get it Team Transport in Advan. That looks amazing with the 5-spoke rims on that one. Then I mentioned all these Japanese cars have to have a white version. So we had the GTR diorama set. Look at that. That's a perfect companion to not only the other white Skylines, but also the black Fast and Furious Skyline. Super, super clean with front and rear deco. Then we get another clean version in the Larry Chen 2-pack. Right, the HKS was there. That was re-release of the HKS. But we get this beautiful red version of Larry Chen's car with the 5 spokes on the front, which is so cool, so clean, so awesome with those 5 spokes. And then to add to that, the Nismo version in the 2-packs. So now we have a Nismo version. We have HKS Advan, Nismo 3 clean. I mean, it's a perfect, perfect collection of premium. And we're going to see more versions of this. But it's just been amazing to see. I mean, it's like if they said we're not going to make any more R32s, I think we'd all be like, that's a bummer, but we got what we needed. And then basics, it hasn't been that bad either. Like the Yokohama deco, it's more of a simple deco on this one, but we got taillights with that blue version. That was released. Then we had this white recolor, which looks nice with the red stripes. And finally, this version, which I loved, got the taillights, which was the basic. And this one would have been cool just with the JNC and the Skyline deco on the side. But one of the best Super Treasure hunts as well when they converted, kept everything, went Spectraflame gray on it, added the TH logo, and turned the Skyline and JNC logo and the rims that kind of gold color. And holy cow, that is one of the coolest Super Treasure hunts and one of the best releases of this R32, which has been stellar. And now we get a very, very nice 5-pack version. From the side, it's totally plain. From the top, you have kind of an understated deco. I would have loved it clean with the headlights, but you know, it is a 5-pack version, so you are usually going to get some more deco on this one. This one has an HKS livery or HKS logo on the top, along with some Hot Wheels logos, Nissan logo, and then that top striping. So it's understated. It's cool. This is the casting that I like the best from this set. And it just adds to this stellar R32 collection. What do you think? Good set, good pack. Obviously, great additions to the Nissan collection, great additions to the Skyline collections. I'm a big fan. Really nice to be able to put what is essentially, I think 4 of those cars are going into my collection. That's really good numbers for a 5-pack. I'm happy with one. I'll buy a whole 5-pack if there's one car I want. But I'm sure happy when I can actually add 4, even 5 to the set. I know a lot of you will probably add all 5 of them. You guys tell me what you think. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mattel, for sending this. Look for this set soon. Bye.